Okay, let's go.
Well, yes, of course. Apart from English, makeup is another one of my passions. Okay, getting ready, and we start. Hi, folks. Hi, folkers. How are you doing? I'm Lau, your teacher of English from Argentina, and today I'm recording my second episode. I can't believe I'm saying this. First of all, I want to thank to all of the people, the students, ex-students, followers who watched the first episode and listened to me also on Spotify, because this is the first time that I'm doing this, as I told you before, because it makes me feel great whenever I just speak in English and I listen to myself. I don't know, I feel extremely happy. But I felt very, very happy with your messages, your feedback after watching or listening to me. Especially when many of you mentioned this thing that I was a very good company for you while you were commuting, while you were traveling to work. And it makes me feel so special. So thank you for that. And also it's great because apart from practicing training your English listening, also you get to know myself. I really, really like that. And on this second episode of Speaking from My Heart, I'm going to tell you a very special story for me. I want you to take you back where all started. I want you to know the exact moment where I fell in love with English, when my passion for English started. So get ready. Spoiler alert, it was not at school, of course. It was a random afternoon at home at my parents' house while I was watching cartoons. I still remember that day so clearly. I think that I was around 8 years old, more or less. And it was a random afternoon at my parents' house. I was watching cartoons. Cartoon Network was the channel. I don't know if you are the same age as me, but maybe you know what I'm talking about. And I suddenly started listening to English sounds, but I didn't know that it was English. So I was suddenly attracted to them. I don't know why, but I like it. I liked how they sound, the words, the voice, the rhythm. Everything was like super attraction for me. And I immediately wanted to know how to produce those sounds, how to speak, how to say that. And of course, I did what children usually do. Imitate sounds, right? But I didn't know how to speak English. So I started doing something like this. I want your lunch because I wanted to speak the language, but I didn't know the language. So after that moment, I asked my mom and my dad, my parents, thank you, mom and dad, I told them that I wanted to learn English. I wanted to go to English lessons. It was something that I asked them. And of course, they accepted my offer. And luckily, fortunately, there was this lovely teacher who lived just around the corner. So my parents, well, I think that in fact, I went to ask for more information with my mom. And boom, 1 week later, hello, Teacher Lau started her first English lesson, her first English experience. And let me tell you, that first lesson was magic. That was the very starting point of my passion for the rest of my life until now. I can tell you how happy I was in every lesson. I was the happiest kid ever. I never missed a lesson because I loved every single thing that happened in every lesson. I remember myself getting ready before every lesson with my notebooks, my pen, my pencils, the stickers, the exercises that we did, pronunciation, grammar, reading. I don't know, everything was perfect during the English lessons. I was such a nerd. Anyway, I was a very good student. Anyway, I think that I am still a nerd, actually. But you know what? That passion never left me because English became my safe place. All the English world, going to English lessons, that English universe for me was really special. It was a very special connection to something that I really enjoyed. It was my favorite way to connect with the world. In fact, it opened many doors for me, and not only professional ones, but also personal. It became part of who I am, how I see the world. I don't know, there is something different. Sometimes I it's like I can see the world through English. I don't know how to explain that. And I remember I really enjoy sharing my lessons with other kids, listening to them, listening to songs, having fun, playing games, and at the same time, learning. But I want to tell you that epiphany moment, that aha moment. And I remember that I think that it was my first lesson, maybe, probably. I remember that I could see my teacher, Bibi, or Bibian in English, and I could see her have this image still now in my mind. I could see her walking around the classroom, maybe helping students and smiling and enjoying her job. And I remember that I looked at her and I immediately thought, I want that. I want to receive students at home. I want to help people with English because it's something that I really enjoy. And I was 8 years old. I think that it was like something really big for a girl of my age to think that, In fact, there is a post on Instagram, a really emotional post that I wrote some years ago. You can check it later. It's in Spanish anyway, but you can understand more of what I'm telling you in this moment when I look at my first teacher of English. I think that she was such an inspiration for me that my dream came true, Well, then life, of course. I continue studying English, of course, I'm still learning English, even being as a teacher. Being a teacher, sorry. I think that is something great, and it's something that I still remember nowadays, that very starting point where I look at my teacher and I say, I want that. And then I look all the things that I went through, and I say, oh my God, I did it. So when I look back in time, and well, I'm talking about my story, but anyway, I think about something very powerful. Sometimes the things that change our life start in the simplest moments, in a very simple way. For example, for me, it was just watching cartoons in a typical afternoon at my parents' house, but a cartoon sparked a whole new universe inside me, something so excited that I really wanted to investigate and get into. And I always think about that. In fact, here is when I would say that conditional number 3, in case you know English or you don't know it. If I hadn't watched those cartoons on a typical afternoon at my parents' house, I wouldn't have known my passion for English. Would it be? Is this okay? Well, you can correct me in the comments. Remember, don't be such a hater. Be kind, okay? But I always think about that, how something simple in your everyday life can change or can feed that passion, or maybe can help you to know something that you really enjoy. And maybe that's how love works, right? Yeah, I'm a philosophical teacher too. I like bringing you food for thought, things to think about. But I always think about that passion, love, something that you really love, and I never get tired of it. This is something that I can't, because in general in life, you get tired of some things, you need discipline, you need to be constant. But with English, for me, such a great pleasure to speak it, to teach it, to transmit. That is a great language to speak. And it's love. And sometimes, well, you don't choose love. It's something you feel, Emotions sometimes, they don't have any explanation. It's difficult to put them into words. So it's something you feel. And this is the way that I feel about English. And I always say the same. English is the longest relationship I've ever had so far in my life. We have been together for so many years. And I think that we're going to continue together until we die together, of course. English, life or die alone. Live with English or die alone, of course. But it's something that I really enjoy, and it's like a love story, a marriage story I have with English. And something that is great, it's a relationship that keeps us evolving, because I never stop learning something new. And this is what I really love about language, there are a million things to learn. And this is why I also love teaching, because while I'm teaching you, I'm learning. And remember, I'm a nerd. So in this episode, I have a question for you. What's your story with English? I want to know if there was a specific moment where you realized you love it or you like it, or maybe when you decided to give it a real chance. I would be so happy and grateful if you can write the answer to this question in the comments, or maybe contact me by Instagram, because I love knowing about people's journey regarding learning the language and much more, or if you like it or if you don't, because I like knowing and I like interacting with people. That's why I'm here, remember, recording myself. Speaking in English, and it's very challenging because in my mind I'm all the time correcting myself. Remember that I'm a teacher, I'm a perfectionist, I'm a geek, I'm a nerd, so it's really challenging for me. And sometimes when I watch myself and I say, oh, this is wrong or this is right, or I ask my team, the team of teachers, to tell me if I said something wrong, remember, I'm a teacher and I'm just a human being that sometimes can make mistakes. And this is part of the learning process, the constant evolution of learning, not only English, anything in life. Remember that. It's very important to bear this in your minds. And to finish this video, there is something very personal that I want to share with you. Some days ago, I was at home with my mom and one of my friends. And my mom said to my friend, when she was a kid, she could speak a word of English in front of any other people. And when I listened to her saying that, I say, oh my God, she's so right. And I look at her and I said, Mom, look at me now. I record myself speaking in English and uploading the videos to YouTube and then podcast to Spotify. So look what I've done. Wow, that is so great. That was another epiphany moment, and it was true, especially when my mom reminded me this, because as I told you in the first episode, I was terrified of speaking in front of other people. And look at me now, the great and big transformation. So if I could do it, you can do it for sure. And I'm here to tell you this, to motivate, to encourage yourself to know this and learn more about this great language that can open you the doors that you can never imagine. Because I have a lot of things to tell you about my journey with English, things that I never expected to happen in my life. Oh my God. So maybe that can be the topic for the next episode. Yeah, probably. So please, I would like to know about your English journeys and something for you in order not to feel bad. If you don't like English, or if you don't find your passion maybe not talking about English, be kind with yourselves, okay? Maybe you are still figuring out, and that's okay, because sometimes it takes more time. But the positive and great thing is that you can maybe listen to what you like, and try not to get desperate, because sometimes I speak with some people, I talk with some people, and they are desperate of finding a passion. Wait, pay attention in your daily routine, in your life, the things that you like. Maybe for some people can be easier and not for others. Well, maybe you are lucky in other aspects of your life, but try not to feel desperate or bad because you you don't have this great passion, maybe you can find passion in other things in life. And most importantly, remember, sometimes love or passion for something starts very quietly, but it always finds its way. So that's all, folks. It was the perfect expression to finish today's episode. I don't know if you remember that, but by the end of the cartoons, this was that's all, folks. So I think that it was very accurate for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, for listening to me on YouTube, on Spotify. And I thought about two things. Maybe if you want to train to practice to improve your English writing, you can leave a comment and I will be reading and answering to each of the comments. Or maybe if you want to practice your English speaking, you can contact me by DM on Instagram and at the same time follow English Norfolk at Instagram, because I like sharing things. You can see many other options about lessons, workshops, conversation club. Maybe you can join me to the conversation club. There is a free session every month, so you can get to know myself alive on this live online Zooms. So thank you so much. Remember, no fear, just English. No excuses. There are no excuses. Discipline, heart, passion, maybe, why not? And if you don't find that, you know where you can find it, at Norfolk English Studio, of course. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you next time, and enjoy this episode. Bye-bye.